I've not been able to sleep on the night of Halloween since I was a child. What I'm about to describe only happened once. Fortunately, it hasn't happened since. I still don't know what to make of it. I was staying at my friend Brendan's house. We weren't doing much. Playing games. Trick-or-treaters were frequently coming by the door. After one group left, he turned to me and said how much he hated Halloween, and was glad that he was able to share it with a friend this year, so that he wouldn't have to be alone with the visitors. What do you mean? I said. Trick-or-treaters are normal? You're not spooked by other kids in costumes, are you? Brendan rarely, if ever, joked around, and this seemed to be no exception. He was looking at me quite serious. No, he says, not them. The visitors. You know, the faces that come in the middle of the night every year at Halloween and just stare at you from the ceiling. All those faces, I say, jokingly shaking it off, but is undeterred. Yeah, the visitors. How do you handle it? Oh, well, that's what I was going... Okay, no, what are you talking about? That's a thing? That's not a thing. I tried playing along, but had quickly given up. He looked at me confused, a bit frustrated now. You know what I'm talking about? I reply, no. His look was changing from confusion to concern now. I thought they visited everyone, he exclaimed. I thought that was the whole point of Halloween. That these things come. He looked incredibly serious. If he was kidding around, his poker face was unlike anything I'd ever seen. No, You're being for real, aren't you? You've never mentioned this before, I ask. I didn't think I needed to. I just assumed it happened to everyone. I thought that not talking about it was one of the traditions. That acting spooky, collecting candy, that was just something to sort of take your mind off things. At least that's how I've been dealing with it. I was cautious, but fascinated to see what he was talking about. It could be a prank, but again, that would be very unlike him. Whatever he was on about, he meant it. All right, I told him. I want to see. That night when we went to bed, rather than sleeping on the floor like I normally do, I got in my sleeping bag on the bed itself while he got under the covers. That way, if the visitors came, he could easily wake me. It took a while to doze off. We were already quite spooked after all. But eventually, we slipped away. Hey, they're here. Everything was fuzzy and I was still half asleep as I could hear Brendan's words. But eventually everything came into consciousness. And I saw my friend staring straight up, his chin trembling. They're here. You see them, don't you? His eyes never breaking from the ceiling. I glanced my eyes upwards, ready for the worst. But nothing was there. Just the darkness and some shadows of the trees being cast by the moon. I breathed a sigh of relief. I began to say that there was nothing there while turning towards him, even beginning to crack a smile. But he's not smiling. He's still staring, unblinking, mouth agape, his chin still trembling, his face pale white and clearly terrified with an unbreaking stare. He shrieked, "They're everywhere! Everywhere! They're all around us!" Brendan, really, there's nothing there. His voice was getting more and more intense. They're there! They're there! He reached a hand to grab my shoulder, and in that instant, just for an instant, I saw them. For a brief moment, just for a split second, they were there. And just as quickly, they were gone. I squinted and shook my head, but they won't come back. It was so quick, but it was so real. The hundreds of staring faces. The visitors, just as he described. I looked back at my friend, and there he was, still paralyzed to the bed, staring and trembling. I approached him, shook him more vigorously. He closed and opened his eyes as if awaking from a nightmare. Brendan, I saw them. They're real. But they're gone again. Can you still see them? No, he replied. But they're still there. I looked all around. Neither of us could see anything. The room was so quiet and cold. Were they still there? Are they always there? Or just on Halloween?